If your e-commerce brand has a Klaviyo account that hasn't sent emails in like ages, then this is the only video you'll need to watch, because we're going to show you the 4-step system we've used to help multiple e-commerce brands re-engage their old and inactive email list, and like how you can use this system to help do the same thing for your brand also. Okay, so in this video, you're gonna learn 1, why most brands fail at re-engaging their old lists, the ski resort strategy that makes re-engagement feel like less overwhelming, the 6-week protocol we use with our clients, how to build engagement segments in Klaviyo, specific email cadence for maximum recovery, and a real example of how we executed this process for a women's safety gear brand and helped recover 13.47% of their list. Okay, now, before we go ahead and do that, we first want to address a common strategy that brands attempt when re-engaging their list, which is direct blasts. So direct blasts are like when you send emails to your entire list when you haven't done so in like a really long time. Now, the problem with this is that when you haven't sent emails in a long time, your sender reputation is low, and your sender reputation helps determine like where inbox providers are going to place your email. Their ultimate goal is to protect their users. So if your sender reputation is not high, which you can think of like a credit score, it can lead the inbox providers to thinking like this brand isn't trustworthy. They might be trying to scam our users. Let's put their email in the spam box, or, like let's put them in the promotions tab. And so when you do this at scale to maybe like 20, 30, 40,000 contacts to whom you haven't sent in like a really long time, it's usually going to end up going badly because you get like super low open rates, like 5 to 10%. And then when you get super low open rates, inbox providers may see this as like a spam kind of behavior. They're going to plummet your domain reputation even more. And now all your emails are landing in spam or like the promotions tab, and you're going to have a tough time getting 50 to like 60 to 70% open rates, because like it doesn't matter how good your emails are, how amazing the design is, like how amazing of an offer you have. If nobody opens them and nobody sees them, you're not gonna make any money. So the correct strategy to adopt, and the thinking that is a pillar of our 4-step system that we use to help re-engage lists, is the ski resort strategy. So the reason we want to think of a re-engaging list from this lens is, because it will help make re-engaging your list less overwhelming. And, you'll also be able to troubleshoot the process on your own without having to Google and desperately search for answers. So the way you can think of this, like imagine your ski resort is opening for the season after it's been closed for, the whole summer. The mountain safety board knows that too many people on the mountain at once can cause collisions and like lift accidents. They're not going to let you fully open until they trust that you can keep everyone safe. So what's the smart approach? You're going to start with only your season pass holders, right? They're likely some of your most, trusted skiers. You know that they're not going to fool around. They're going to follow the rules and they're going to ski safely. Then once they start to ski safely, this proves to the mountain safety board that you can handle more, so you can open immediate runs. So finally, you can open up more of the mountain and sell day passes. And then once the safety board sees smooth operations, they're going to approve full capacity, and you can have as many people as you want on the mountain. So how do we translate this into an email? So starting with your season pass holders, or in email terms, sending emails to your most engaged subscribers first helps prove that you can actually manage the mountain safely, or, in email terms, that you are a trusted sender. And because season pass holders know the rules, they follow the safety protocols, which in the email world is going to yield high open rates. And because they, follow the rules, the mountain safety board sees no accidents or chaos. So in the email world, it proves you are a reputable sender. And now, because the mountain safety board sees you as a reputable sender, they mark you as a safe operator, and they are going to allow you to have more people on the mountain, which, in the email world gives you a better chance of not landing in spam when you do decide to, send to more people on your email list and try and re-engage them. So in short, start with your most engaged email subscribers. And then, once you get good engagement metrics, you want to start sending to less engaged people, and like continue expanding to your list until you've tried sending the whole list and tried to re-engage as many of them as possible. So with that being said, how do we exactly execute the ski resort strategy? Okay, the first step is to create your content calendar. Now, we want to build a 1 to 2 month content calendar where like we essentially brainstorm the emails that we're going to be sending over a 1 to 2 month period. So we want to brainstorm email topics, angles, products that we want to promote. And this planning phase is really, really important. It's important because, since you're re-engaging a list after a long time, it's super crucial that you push actually real valuable content. So you're going to want to, solve their problems, give them clarity on confusing topics, make them laugh, entertain them, challenge common beliefs, provide genuine value. So don't just push sales and discounts. Doing this is only going to cause people to see you as a brand that just wants their money. So like a really good content mix to aim for is maybe like 60% just straight value, 30% soft product mentions, and like 10% direct promotions. So now some examples of emails that you can create are like 3 reasons your skin breaks out, or why you need polarized sunglasses. Maybe something like 7 guilt-free cheap meals, or like fast food can help you lose weight and here's why. These are all going to be really good examples of good content that people will look forward to reading if they're in your, target market. So you should aim to push content that's in alignment with something that is value-driven, problem-solving, and, spikes curiosity. So above all, just don't be boring. Next, you're going to want to build our engagement segments. So we need to create the segments that you're going to be sending these emails to. So, again, back to the original ski resort strategy, we're going to want to start with our most loyal subscribers, and that's going to include 7-day engaged, 14-day engaged, 30-day engaged, 60-day engaged, 90-day engaged, and finally 120-day engaged. Now, what this engaged name means is, anyone who's opened or clicked an email in the last 7 days. So these are going to be like our most loyal subscribers, because if anyone's opened or clicked in the last 7 days and you send them an email tomorrow, the chance that they're going to open is really high because you probably already landed in their primary inbox. And the segments are going to get bigger and less engaged as you go down like the funnel. To build these segments in Klaviyo, just look at this picture. So the criteria is, opened an email at least once in the last 30 days or clicked an email at least once in the last 30 days, and subscribe status equals subscribed, and bounced email equals 0. So you just copy this exactly, but just change where it says 30 days to 7, 14, 30, 60, 90, 120. And honestly, you can just keep going all the way up until 365 to 700 days. The reason for this is that you can try to warm up your account slower and reach more people if the 120-day segments aren't big enough. And if you feel like you want more people in your engaged segments before doing a full list blast. Step 3, it's going to be time to go ahead and send those emails. So, we want to send a minimum of 1 to 3 emails per week to our most engaged segments. Start with 7-day engaged, monitor that performance closely. And then if you're getting good open rates, just expand to 14 days. If it's still low and you're stuck at, 30 to 40%, just wait it out and keep sending to 7-day engaged and maybe try 14-day engaged. And again, whenever you're in doubt, just think back to the ski resort example and ask yourself, are my season pass holders, engaged subscribers, skiing safely with good control? And are we seeing smooth runs with no accidents? So high open rates, low complaints. And if the answer is yes, the Mountain Safety Board, which is the inbox providers, are going to trust us to, open more runs. If people are crashing or the slopes are chaotic, low open rates, we're going to need to keep the mountain restricted until our conditions improve. So this mental model is going to help you navigate the, complexity of when to send to more people, because things are going to get nuanced based on your brand and based on what's happening. Okay, and remember, only expand your segments when you're consistently getting 40 to 50% open rates, if not higher. All right, so around week 3 and 4, after you've sent 2 to 3 weeks of consistent sending, it's when you're going to start to send to 30, 60, 90, 120, 365 day engaged. So around this mark is when you can start opening up your list a lot because, at this point, you should be getting some really high open rates. And some things you're going to start seeing is the segment size is going to jump. So like in the beginning, you'll maybe be sending to like a small pool of people and it'll slowly be getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Your open rates might drop because you'll gradually be sending to more people, but it's okay because there will be a net plus with respect to the number of people opening your emails. And, click rates can also drop. So this is normal and expected. Do not freak out if you do see that. Alrighty, so now it's going to be time to cover some critical rules for expansion. So, never expand until you're hitting minimum 40% to 50% open rates. If open rates are going to drop below 40% or even 30%, tighten back to the previous segment. So go back to like 7 or 14 day. You want to keep a consistent sending schedule. So we want to be sending minimum 1 time a week, 1 to 3 times a week, basically. And, start introducing some soft product mentions using the 80-20 rule. So 80% value and like 20% sales. Now, some key metrics to watch for, again, keep an eye on your open rate. It's got to stay above 40%. Your bounce rate should be below 2%, and if it starts getting higher than 2%, this is normal. This is because there's a lot of people on the email list whose email address maybe don't exist anymore. Maybe it's deleted or maybe their mailbox is full. So if you're getting a super high bounce rate, you just have to create a segment with anyone who's bounced at least 1 time in the last 30 days and exclude them from every campaign. And, as far as building the segment goes, you can view this picture below on how to do that. Okay, so lastly is spam complaint rate. So, your spam complaints are going to get high in this 1 to 3 month period, and that is completely normal because the people who are not interested in your emails are going to be filtering themselves out. So, don't worry about that. You haven't sent it in a long time, and now you're just going to be sending to multiple thousands of people, so it's okay if your spam rate goes up a little bit. All right, so around the 5 to 6 week mark is when you want to start doing a full list blast. And honestly, you can even do it earlier, maybe 3 or week 4 if you're seeing really good numbers. But around this time is when your list should be warm enough, and you should be getting good enough engagement metrics to just go ahead and do it. So, send 1 or 2 emails to the entire list. Your sender reputation's probably strong now, and you'll have a good chance of landing in the primary inbox. Okay, so now that we've covered most of the strategy, let me share with you some results that we got for one of our clients using this exact 4-step system. So at the starting point, this client was only getting 5% open rates. They had 60,000 plus subs on their email list, and they were paying $945 a month for their Klaviyo bill. And after implementing this 4-step system, their open rates went to 57%. We trimmed their list down to 7,000 people, and we helped reduce their Klaviyo bill to just $175 a month, which helped them save north of $9,000 a year. And if you're wondering, oh my goodness, you were only able to get 7,000 people back from 60,000, that's a completely normal drop off, and I'll explain why in just a second. So at this point, you're probably going to be wondering, this makes sense that I have to be sending all these emails, but when do I stop? When do I know once I've recovered everyone? And the simple solution is just do the math. So you're going to want to check out how many people are in your 30-day engaged segment, and then you want to divide that number by your total list size. So, if the output you get is between 10 to 15%, you did a good job, and it's safe to say you've gotten everyone back who you could have. The reason is because 10 to 15% is the average amount of people that you can expect to get back from your list. So if you have a list of 100,000 people, you're only going to get back 10 to 15,000 people realistically. You may get more, but in most likelihood, the rest of those people are just not going to be able to be recovered. You may get up to 20% with exceptional content, but anything above 10% is going to be a win. So once we've gone ahead and engaged everyone that we could have, we then want to, transition to the list cleanup. So basically what we want to do is suppress anyone who we weren't able to re-engage. And the reason for that is because Klaviyo charges you per number of contacts that you have. So we don't want to just be paying for people who aren't opening our emails. And I'm not going to walk you in depth through this in this video just because it's going to take up too much time. because you can just follow this guide below on how to do so. And if you have any questions, you can just drop them in the comment section. We reply to all of our comments. Okay, so before we end off this video, we just want to go over some, common mistakes that can affect your re-engagement strategy. Mistake number 1 is going to be going too fast. If you're jumping from 500 to 20,000 recipients really, really fast, you're going to tank everything. So be patient. Mistake number 2 is giving up when metrics dip. It's normal if your open rates drop when you expand, so don't get discouraged. Mistake number 3 is not cleaning your list after. A lot of people re-engage the list, but if you have a really big one, you should just suppress all those non-openers because it may help you save so much money. And finally, mistake number 4 is inconsistent sending. So, don't send one email one week and then 0 the next after that and then 2 the next week, because you need to keep it consistent. Send 1 to 3 times a week. Okay, now for a recap. If you're trying to re-engage your old list and you have an old one that hasn't been active in a long time, all you have to do is 1, create a content calendar for 1 to 2 months. 2, you're going to build engagement segments. So 7, 14, 30, all the way up to 120. You can even go longer if you want. 3, start sending to your most engaged segments 1 to 3 times per week. 4, make sure your open rates are 40 to 50%. 5, you're going to keep sending, keep opening up your list and sending to bigger segments. 6 is once your reputation is strong, maybe week 5 or 6, send a full blast to your list. And finally, 7, once you've got a recovery rate of 10 to 15%, suppress the non-openers and boom, you're done. That's literally it. And as you can see, the process for going ahead and re-engaging an old email list is actually quite simple. A lot of email marketers make it sound more difficult than it is, but in reality, that's just not the case. However, if you've got a lot on your plate or you're just having trouble understanding the ins and outs in Klaviyo and you'd like to leverage our help to re-engage your old email list, just simply click on the link below and book a call to speak with our team today.